How do you get a job in public relations today? Your first job. It's not as simple as taking a course on public relations or going to college and majoring in public relations. That's not really what most corporations' PR firms are looking for. Now, way back in 1985, I decided I wanted my first job to be in public relations, and it did give me a grounding for everything I've done ever since. So if you want to start a career in public relations, I think it can be a great avenue. But everything has changed since 1985, and especially my hair. But so many ways of talking to people, communicating, of building relationships with the public has changed. In fact, it's almost entirely different. Here's my recommendation if you want a job, whether it's an entry-level job or you're trying to shift from another career into public relations. You've got to understand the times we live in. And these times are all about social media. Yes, major TV networks are still important. Major radio networks are important. But how people communicate, corporations, clients, customers, PR firms, is first and foremost about social media. So you've got to master that, because the social media is what often ends up spilling over into mainstream media and broadcast media. So you've got to master that. The good news is you can be a 10th grader in high school and get good at this. You could be 85 years old and living in a retirement home and get really good at this. What it requires is time, focus, attention, experimentation, and these things you could frankly do at any age. Let's say you wanted to work for a top PR firm in your city. Well, one of the things you could do is start following on social media, not just those companies, but anyone who works in those companies. Follow them, read what they're talking about, look at the clients they're promoting, how they're promoting, like their comments, add comments to them, ask them questions, build relationships with people in your industry, the industry you want to go into. Next thing you can do is try to be helpful. Repost their links, put a spotlight on it, talk about their clients if it's something you genuinely believe in, genuinely like. Try to put a spotlight on the clients that the PR people are focusing on. Let's say you want to work for the Disney company and you live in Orlando, Florida, or you live in Los Angeles, California, where they have a major presence. Well, then why don't you focus on their new shows, their new movies, and all the publicity that comes out, and try to help their public relations people get more media attention? Rebroadcast, retweet things that they do, amplify their message, and build a following. My advice for someone getting in the field today is very different than when I got in 1985. I think you're far better off focusing on a particular niche, because then you can build relationships with the players in that industry. Not just the PR people, but the media people who follow everyone in that industry, the major corporations, the major players in that industry. Build relationships with those people. You don't simply want to badger PR people. That's only one part of it. Build relationships with the media, and the PR people will like you even more. Build relationships with the CEOs, the entrepreneurs in that space, and they're going to be recommending you. They may say, why are we hiring this PR firm? This kid Smithers seems like he's promoting us all the time. Get him on the account. Build relationships, connect with people on LinkedIn, on Twitter X, on Instagram, any social media platform that you already like, you already use. Use that to build relationships with people in a particular industry. And by build relationships, I don't mean just write them an email saying, hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you hire me? Can you take an hour out of your day to meet with me? That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about learning what they do, learning about their interest, learning about what they're focusing on, making insightful comments, asking intelligent questions that would be of interest to their audience. These are all things that will build your reputation and attract followers, connections for you. The most powerful way to go into a meeting, a job interview at a public relations firm or a public relations department in a major corporation, is not with a resume. It's with them looking at your LinkedIn and saying, oh my God, this person has a lot more connections than I do. And I've been in the industry for 20 years. Wow, this person already is connected to this reporter we've been pitching lately and one of our competitors and these important trade publications. That's the most important resume you can have in the public relations world today. Now, there was a time when anyone in PR sort of took an oath of, I'm going to be behind the scenes. The spotlight deserves to be entirely on the client. Well, let me tell you, those days are over. So often, if you want to advance in public relations, you have to be the spokesperson for that client, for that company, for that brand. So it's never too early to start positioning yourself as an articulate spokesperson. It's not about to be able to write a press release. Anyone can do that. Any computer can do that with ChatGPT. But you can distinguish yourself by really talking about something in a compelling way. You may want to be an influencer. You may want to join the Amazon influencer program or TikTok or Walmart, doing something where you're really thinking strategically about how can I shape messages to benefit a client, to benefit selling a particular product or service. You need to think of yourself first and foremost as a connector and as a media company. Because as you're building a presence on social media, you need to think of it as this is a way for you to communicate, not just send out messages in an old style broadcast network. Look at me, look how great I am, look at my brilliant quote card. No, it's got to be two-way communications where you are building relationships with people in your niche, in your industry, with a part of them being public relations executives. But keep in mind, public relations executives are only valuable because of their relationships with people in the media, with clients, with customers, their understanding of an industry, and their ability to craft messages. Now, here's where your creativity is really going to help you. If you are posting daily on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, interesting ideas about your industry that show how clever you are with interesting titles, but not just things that capture attention and clickbait. I'm talking about interesting ideas of relevance to people in your industry. Some of them can be purely about public relations tactics, things you've observed. Some of it might be you saying how much you like and appreciate and recommend other people's public relations efforts. But some of what you post needs to be purely about the state of the industry you're in, positive trends you see, exciting things for the industry going into the future. When you position yourself as a thought leader who also happens to be a great spokesperson, who also happens to be great at articulating messages and formulating messages, who also has relationship with people in the media, all the other stakeholders, you become highly valuable to public relations firms, to corporations, corporate communication departments, and you never know. These days, it might be possible to bypass that whole first step of your career of working and toiling away in the back room for a PR firm or corporate communications department. You might have people reaching out to you directly saying, hey, we'd like to hire you right now. What is your monthly fee? And that can be a great way of doing it. Now, you may decide you want to work for a big company, really learn fundamentals from people who've been in the business for years. That's okay. But there's nothing wrong with starting your own freelance business. That was virtually impossible when I started way back in 1985. It's very possible right now. You can do it. This doesn't make you less attractive to a PR firm thinking of hiring you or corporate communications department. It makes you more attractive, because the only thing PR firms love more than someone who can craft messages well, deal with relationships with clients well, become a spokesperson if needed, understanding media, having relationships with the media. There's only one thing they like more: the ability of someone who's not afraid to look a client prospect in the eye and ask them for money to get them to become a client. If you have your own freelance business, even if it only makes $500 a month, you're showing people, you have entrepreneurial zeal in you. That's highly attractive to most PR firms and corporate communications departments. So you have nothing to lose. So rather than just sending out resumes hour after hour to PR firms, which is mostly a waste of time, you can be building a revenue stream, building more actual real life experience with corporations, and B, now you already have ways of talking to people organically, not just, here's my resume, where's the HR department? That's the absolute worst way to get a job pretty much anywhere these days, but especially in the public relations world. So I wish you luck. There are a lot of exciting things going on in the public relations field. I don't consider myself a full-time member of the PR community anymore, but you know what? These days, everyone, every CEO, every startup founder, every expert, author, whether you produce books or online courses, everyone has to think about and practice public relations on a daily basis. So as a career starting point, it's a fantastic grounding. Good luck.